Hello everyone, 12 Bravo here. Wanted to make a video, the end all be all argument for and against EVs. Okay. Now, let me dispel some rumors right off the bat. EVs are 5 times less likely to catch fire than a gas powered vehicle, than an ICE vehicle or internal combustion engine. They are not worse for the environment due to their production of lithium ion. They are actually still better for the environment over their lifespan than a normal gas car. So having those two big facts out of the way, because people are afraid that their car is going to catch on fire, all these things out there, they're a lot safer than internal combustion engine vehicles. Period. Okay. Now the only thing that I didn't like personally as an EV owner was that, and living in Florida, is that if they do get submerged in salt water, I guess I haven't really researched it much. Maybe someone can let me know in the comments that has, but something about the salt water and the batteries that make them catch on fire like that. So, but gas powered cars have caught on fire and floods too. So you have that. But anyways, my current situation is I have one electric vehicle, a Mach-E, and my wife drives a gas powered car, a Hyundai Tucson. And I think it's a good mix that we have right now because for this Christmas we're going to be heading up to Ohio, and I'm taking the Tucson just because the drive's already brutal. It's 13.5 hour drives, and I say brutal because I'm 45 years old and I don't roll like that anymore. I can't drive 12 hours straight, only stopping for gas anymore. I need my breaks. I need my snacks. The temperature has to be exactly 77 degrees. I mean, there's so many variables out there. I get tired. Y'all. I need my naps. So, anyways, I feel like we're at a good mix right now in my family because we do have one gas powered, we got one EV car. And I'll tell you this right off the bat, I wouldn't own an EV if I couldn't charge at home. Okay, that's another thing that you want to look at. If you got access to a charger either at work or at home, then yeah, definitely go for it. If it's your only car, I would say you got to think about how many times you go on road trips, 1,000 mile plus road trips, because it's right at that 1,000 mile mark. I feel like that it gets a little uncomfortable. You're looking, if you own an electric vehicle with like a 250 mile, 270 mile range, you're looking at about adding in 1,000 mile road trip about 3.5 to 4 hours of charging. So you add that to your drive time. That's no fun. So I think right now mass acceptance to where an EV will be good for everybody is just not there yet. Lucid's got 500+ mile cars out there, but they're super expensive. And electric vehicles in general are just expensive. The Bolt was the cheapest one. They stopped production in December 23, I think, but they're going to start production of a new redesigned Bolt in 25. So hopefully it'll still be in that sweet $20,000 price range, because not everybody can afford $30, $40, $50,000 for, an electric vehicle. And the cheaper they get when the Chinese come in, I think these tariffs are bad, 100% tariffs, because it only hurts the consumer. The Chinese can build electric vehicles a lot cheaper, and some of them are very nice. I was looking at that I think it's called VinFast. They got an SUV, I think, for sale in the U.S. now, and it's remarkably priced, and supposedly it's been getting good reviews. So, depending on where you stand, whether you're want to buy American, Chinese, whether you don't care. I know for me, I kind of like buying American, but I understand that when it's your pocketbook, hey, that's your money. No one can tell you how to spend your money, right? So, but I think right now EVs in general are a little too expensive, and their range just isn't quite up to par with ICE vehicles. When you're thinking about having to stop 30 minutes to charge, 10 to 80% or whatever it is you're doing. Normally, normally car routes and electric vehicles, when you go on these long road trips, they'll have you stopping at weird battery percentages because it takes you usually the route planning in like say like my Mach-E or my old Polestar. It'll take you on a route that's the fastest. So you might be stopping to charge at 50% and only charging to 70, and then you're back on the road again. It just depends on what the maps tells you. So it's not always like running your car down to 10% and then charging up to 80% and then going again. It doesn't work like that. So just to give you information on that. But is an EV right for you? You got to ask yourself, how many 1,000+ mile road trips are you taking a year? You know, if 95% of your driving, like mine, is around your local area and you don't need 250-mile range in a day, then it's perfect for you. Because, you know, that one road trip you may take a year, 1,000-mile plus road trip you may take a year, just rent a car. You know, just rent a car with the savings that you're getting from not buying gas. I mean, I calculated, I don't know what it is on the Mach-E, but on my Polestar, you know, my costs were about 5 cents a mile versus 25 cents a mile on my gas powered Volvo that took premium fuel. So that's why it was so high. Engineers, baby. Essayons. Anyways, I think if you're looking at electric vehicle and you're considering it, don't be scared of the range. A lot of people have range anxiety, like, oh my God, you know, what do I do if I run out of energy? Or, you know, what do I do? You know, how long do the batteries last? Okay, so the batteries, by federal mandate, 8 years, 100,000 miles. All the electrical components, everything that makes it an electric vehicle is covered. The motors, the batteries, the wirings, all that stuff. Okay. So every manufacturer is going to have that warranty. Now, some, like VinFast, I think, the new Chinese company, they have a 8-year unlimited mileage warranty on their electrical components. So some manufacturers will go above and beyond, and some just, you know, kind of, I think it's funny, like Ford advertises that, oh, 8 years, 100,000 miles. They advertise it. It's like, yeah, duh, you have to do it by law. You're not giving us anything. But anyways, if you're seriously thinking about it, I would, you know, go test drive one. Don't worry about range. Range is really like, I know when I got my first electric car, it was 2013. I bought a Nissan Leaf, and that thing max, if you were feather babying it with no, you know, no AC, no heat, you could go 100 miles on that thing. And I worked downtown at the time. I lived about 20 miles north of the city, and it was perfect. I could go back and forth to work. I charged on 110 because I didn't have 240 in my garage. So I would go back and forth to work, maybe get home, run a few errands. So that's what, 40 miles. And then everything, like Walmart, everything was close to my house. So I may have driven like 50 miles in a day in that thing. And I would plug it in at night in the 110, and it would pretty much, you know, charge, you know, by morning when I had to leave, you know, depending on what time in the evening I plugged it in, I would have, you know, 40, 50 miles back in charge. So it worked out pretty good for us. And now I have a Mach-E, which has, when I charge it to 100%, it says 270. But I normally charge it to 90, which gives me like 230 or something like that. And it's more than plenty to get around Tampa. I can go to Orlando, you know, and back. So I can make it pretty far. Like if I'm going to Jacksonville, that's 3.5 hour drive. I'll take my electric car because, you know, there are chargers along the way. I can find them, especially with Ford having access to the Tesla supercharger network now. You just need the adapter. The adapters are hard to get if you're looking at a Ford right now, because they can charge on the Tesla supercharger network, which is a definite plus. They were the first ones, and then I think the second was followed by Rivian. You need the adapter that's made by Tesla. And there's a few aftermarket suppliers of the adapter, like Electron and A to Z or AYZ, something like that. I think it's A to Z. So those are two Chinese companies that make a adapter, and both of them are trying to be whatever it is compliant, UL something compliant. So they build a lot of safety into their adapters. Now Ford and Rivian have came out and said, hey, don't use any adapters except for the ones that you can get from us. And they say that because there's so many aftermarket adapters out there, and using an aftermarket adapter, just warning, even the Electron and the A to Z, if it messes up your car, it ain't going to be covered because you're using an adapter that isn't authorized. Tesla doesn't want you using any unauthorized adapters. Ford doesn't want you using any unauthorized adapters. So if something does happen to your car by chance and your car gets toasted, it's not covered unless you're using the Ford or Rivian adapter that you get directly from them. Now, I signed up to be notified because they're sold out, and they were giving them away for free to original owners. So people that bought their cars new, they were giving them away for free, which I think was a bad move because there's lots of people that don't need them, and they're getting these $200 adapters for free, and then they're turning around and selling them on eBay. I saw one person trying to sell one on eBay for $750. It's a $200 adapter because they're really hard to get right now. I got lucky and was able to score one at a way lower price because I was in a bidding war, kind of a bidding war with one other person, and I just waited till the last like 15 seconds to put in my last bid, and I won the bid. First time it's ever happened on eBay. I always lose. But anyways, I got the adapter, and I'm excited I got the Ford adapter that's made by Tesla, and I'm excited to try it out on the Tesla superchargers down the street at the Wawa. They have a bunch of Tesla superchargers. But my argument for against EVs right now are just their range and charging speed. You know, the Mach-E that I have right now charges pretty slow. It's one of the slower charging EVs on the market. Has a max input of, I think, 150 kilowatts. And it only stays at that max input for like a few minutes before it drops down to like the 80s and 90s, I think. So, but again, I'm not really using public chargers that often. I don't go on many road trips. If I do, the furthest north I go is St. Augustine or Jacksonville, in which, you know, I have to stop maybe one time to charge for 15, 20 minutes. Not bad. But yeah, the charging speed, once they get it up to like maybe 10 minutes to charge from, and they're very close. Like I think the Kia and the Hyundai, they have 800 volt architecture. They can charge from 0 to 80%, I think, in like 18 minutes or something like that. So if they can get that number down to like 10 minutes and get the range to like 400, you know, even 500, you know, if they can get it to be comparable to what an ICE car can drive, you know, a lot of normal gas powered vehicles, you know, get 300 to 400 miles of range of tank, you know, averaging. So if they can get the electric cars to do that and to be able to charge in like 10 minutes, then I think more people will roll over to them. And they just have to dispel all the myths about them being dangerous, about catching on fire, things like that. I mean, like I said, they're 5 times less likely to catch on fire. And they're just, once you drive an electric vehicle, you won't want to go back. They're so smooth. They're so quiet. It's like driving a Cadillac. I mean, it's amazing. It's just like, I got a 21 and, I got a 21 Mach-E, and it has the laminated glass, so it's even more quieter. They stopped doing that. They stopped making the laminated glass after the 21 model. But yeah, so that's about it. That's my argument right there is, you know, you just have to look at your driving style and, yeah, just think about what you need and don't be afraid of range. Range anxiety will go away. Think about, you know, I mean, how many times do you have to fill up your car a week? Right? if you're coming home and you plug your car in a charger every day, you're never gonna need or you're not gonna have range anxiety. Trust me. Especially if you plug your car in every day and it's topped off to 90, 100%. Usually manufacturers advise 80 to 90% on the daily, and only 100% when you're going on long trips. But that goes away very quickly. I had the same thing. I had range anxiety when I had the Leaf originally, and then my second EV was a Polestar. Many years later, about 10 years later, I got into a Polestar. But yeah, the range anxiety, it goes away. You know, there was like maybe 1 or 2 times where I'm like, oh, you know, these chargers are broken. You know, where am I going to go? You know, do I have enough range to get to the next charging station? But especially if you buy a Ford or Rivian and you have access to the Tesla charging super network. I mean, the Tesla's everywhere. Buc-ee's, they're at Wawa, there are tons of places. So you have access to like, I think it's like 14 or 15,000 superchargers that you have access to now. So just keep that in mind. You know, if you're married or have, you know, spouse or partner, consider doing one gas, one EV, you know, that way you have your car for road trips and your daily commuter, or your drive around town car. So that's about all I got to say on that. I hope you guys are staying safe out there. I know we just had the hurricane. I hope that everyone stays safe and recovers quickly. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments or concerns about electric vehicles, any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. All right, guys, you take care. Stay safe.